Let's start this video off with a case of that's not a choke, this is a choke, as the girl from the Netherlands gets out of that choke and then applies one of her own. So in this video we're going to be going over the best submissions from a few different events. There's the Zagreb Grand Prix of August, the Cadet World Championships, and the Cadet Team World Championships, which took place in late August, early September. There are a couple of chokeouts in this video, plenty of arm locks, which is what we're seeing now after that nice Yoko Tomoanage. I have even included a knockout from a throw in this video, as well as the best submission escape, which wasn't the one we just saw from the choke. It's actually a very nice arm lock escape, which I've included a little later on. And we're also going to have a look at what I think was one of the better Newaza performances of the year and a couple of controversies from recent events. So enjoy this one. Favorini of Italy pulled off a nice choke with a beautiful entrance. I have included an alternate angle on that spinning choke entrance right at the end of this video. I started off this video with a look at a Brazilian attempting a choke, then getting choked herself. There are a few examples of some good Newaza from the Brazilian team. Here's Jessica Perreira. Here she's going to get a juji-gatame from the sankaku position, so a sankaku-juji. Next up we have a nice fast choke entrance. I feel like the girl from New Zealand could have made a better attempt at escaping, but she was already a waza-ari down. Now we're going to see an unusual reaction. Holds the hand up in the air, gets submitted, and then suddenly she's very angry with her coach. It seemed like her coach had told her that if you hold your hand up in the air in that position, the ref will call mate. Not a good thing for the coach to tell the athlete. Here we have a blue belt choking out a black belt from the World Cadet Championships. So a big day for that blue belt. Not such a good day for the girl in the blue judo gi. Now here's one for the brown belts that think they're ready. They're putting in the work to try and get that black belt. So we've got Sarah Mendes of Brazil. This is also from the cadets. The cadets have a couple of different weight classes, including the under 44 kilo for women. And some nice work from Mendes to finish this one off with, I guess it's going to be called Hara-gatame. Here is a knockout from a Sode-tsuri komigoshi. That was by Milica Nikolic, and her opponent, Tanzer of Austria, did seem to make a fast recovery, as she did appear at the Zagreb Grand Prix. And actually there is a clip of Tanzer coming up a little later. Now we'll have a look at a couple of Sode-guruma-jime. So Sode-guruma-jime can be applied from a variety of positions, and in this case the judoka in white is applying Sode-guruma-jime from inside the closed guard, even though the judoka in blue puts in an attempt for juji-gatame. She's forced to submit. So it's a position we don't often see the choke from. This was from the cadets. Obviously the cadets overall Newaza level is going to be a little bit lower than what you see on the IJF World Tour, but you never know, we might see that in the adults. I do know some BJJ black belts with a lot of experience who, when they have a student that's a little bit older, a little bit heavier, less athletic, they say don't worry about trying to open closed guard, just try Sode-guruma-jime until the other player is forced to open their closed guard. Here is a more common use of the Sode-guruma-jime in a Canada versus US matchup, with the Canadian blue belt getting the win. Here's a move that fans of Koji Komuro of Japan might be familiar with. We don't see this one very often, known in Japan as the Komlock these days, due to Komuro Koji's success with this technique. So here's another chokeout, and in this case it's a lot more damaging than the one we saw earlier. And the one we saw earlier, the girl was able to make a fairly quick recovery, but in this case I don't know what happened as they pulled the camera away for a long time from this mat. I don't know whether she had some damage from twisting her neck so severely, but clearly she's out for quite a long time before the referee called the match. And somewhat unusually, she has the eyes open and just seems to be stuck in this position. I don't know whether there was an issue with her neck or simply the effect of the chokeout. Here's another attack coming from the sankaku position. This time it's sankaku-juji from the guard. She locks up the sankaku-jime and then applies the juji-gatame finish by extending the arm. So in judo, you're not allowed to pull on the head during the sankaku-jime, so often attacking the arm is the better option, especially when you're applying it from the bottom and you're not in an osaikomi position. Next up we have Kiyomi Watanabe, who represents Philippines, but she's based in Japan. She usually shows very good newaza. In this match, she really shows all the different ways you can try to finish juji-gatame when your opponent has a flexible elbow and they have one of your legs trapped. There is an exciting amount of judo coming up this week. There is a Grand Slam in Baku, and before that wraps up, the Asian Judo Championships will have started. Now usually Japanese team for the Asian Championships is a bit of a B team, but in this case they're sending Natsumi Tsunoda, the multi-time world champion, so I will have a video up on her matches assuming things go as I expect with some good newaza. The Italian judoka left her neck open for that one and was submitted with koshi jime variation of ukuri eri jime. Next up, some judo from Kyrgyzstan's Zholdosheva. She had 2 submissions at the World Cadet Championships. I think she ended up placing 5th. The first one was a choke. Now here's the second one. Was able to apply juji-gatame from the bottom and get a quick submission. Now I think this is either a sankaku-jime or a juji-gatame. Obviously the Ukrainian women's team are known for the sankaku-gatame due to the success of Daria Bolodid, and in this case we get a turnover followed by a pretty quick submission. I'm not sure whether it was a choke or she was just submitting because there wasn't much time left in the match and she was unlikely to be able to get out. It looked like it could have been a choke to me. Here's Oberan applying a juji-gatame. We'll have a look at Oberan getting submitted a little later on. Really caught her opponent during that drop throw attempt. Went directly into the choke, following up from the ukiwaza she used to bring it to the ground. It's the battle of the brown belts in this one, and the judoka in white, Marques, really put in a lot of effort with constant attacks, and here is another Sode-guruma-jime. So the most impressive newaza performance of the last few months, in my opinion, is this one by Lucy Rentschel at the Zagreb Grand Prix. She was really impressive at this event. We're going to have a look at a lot of her highlights. So here is her first match. She was able to apply the reverse triangle choke, the Ushiro sankaku-jime, to get the submission. She did it again in her second match. Gets behind her opponent, isolates one arm by locking over her opponent's hands, locks up the sankaku, then grabs onto her opponent's leg, rolls over to get the turnover. Looks like the lock on this one isn't as tight. Looks like she's had it locked over her foot rather than around the ankle, but still got a quick submission. Can she make it 3 times in a row? This time she's up against Oberan. We also saw Oberan winning by juji-gatame about a minute ago. This one took her a little bit longer to set up. Finally she got those legs locked. Then she worked on getting the turnover. The tap was instant. So let's see what happens next. The referee cancels this ippon and penalizes Rentschel for a neck crank. Here is a look at it from a different angle. You can see that Oberan's head was a little bit bent over during the turnover. The match continued and Lucy Rentschel won. Next up we have Kim Jisu of Korea. She's well known for that low ochigari. After this one, well actually at the end of the video I'm going to show some of the match between Kim Jisu and Lucy Rentschel because there was some interesting exchanges. So there's Kim Jisu winning with ude-gatame. Here are some more highlights from the Cadet World Judo Championships. I think we're going to get a juji-gatame out of this one. Yeah, she was looking initially for the sankaku-jime, but ended up switching to the juji-gatame. Here's Nikolic in the white judo gi. We saw her knock out Tanza earlier. Now we're going to have a look at what she can do on the ground. She turns her opponent. Was it a tap for osaikomi? Was it a choke? She has pretty good positioning with her left side of the body against her opponent, so it wouldn't surprise me if there was choking pressure. They've changed a lot of the rules of judo to make Nikolic's favorite techniques harder to do, but she still ends up putting people on stretchers and submitting them. Here's sankaku-jime. This one I think was probably a submission due to osaikomi. I'll include that because I know a lot of my viewers do like sankaku-jime. We're going to have a look at a juji-gatame. It ends with a bit of bad sportsmanship. The judoka with the blue belt submits and then acts like she doesn't know why the match was stopped. So this was from the teams championships. This was a match between Estonia and France. Obviously France have a lot of black belts even though it's a cadet championships and have a very strong team. And in this one she's able to get the submission with this juji-gatame. You can see the submission, there it is, a light tap, but certainly a tap from the judoka in blue, but she appeals it. Now the French judoka went on to be submitted by the Japanese Hatayama. Hatayama got the choke on after trying to attempt a turnover, and when that turnover was blocked she saw the opening to go for the neck. I was a bit surprised that Hatayama didn't walk away with a gold medal. She was eliminated in the early rounds of the 48 kilo division. 48 kilos tends to be one of Japan's strongest categories. Now here's another attempt of a turnover that ends in a choke. So she's got a grip on her opponent's jacket under the belt. You can still see she's got that grip there pulled across her opponent's body. Her opponent's managed to trap a leg, but she also has that right hand in on the collar in place, and as her opponent attempts to belly down, she turns herself into the choke. So this is Stanga of Slovenia. I'm guessing she's the sister of the Stanga that competes in the 48 kilo class and has a lot of success. Next up we have the best escape of the last couple of months. A really nice juji-gatame escape by Platten of the Great Britain judo team. She's able to slowly get her shoulder out first, and then finally get the elbow out of there. Next up we'll have a look at Lucy Rentschel versus Kim Jisu in the final of the 63 kilo class. There were some quite interesting moments in Newaza, and this is kind of a good study of the rules of judo. Obviously Lucy Rentschel wants the Ushiro Sankaku win again. She's into golden score here. She's got two Shidos on the board. She goes for Ushiro Sankaku, gets it locked up. Now Kim Jisu was able to force a mate call. See if you can spot the reason why. We'll have a look from an alternate angle. Because Jisu was able to lift Rentschel's head off the mat, mate was called. Now if you're wondering why Lucy Rentschel had the nose covering she was, you can check out this headbutt. Here's an alternate angle on the accidental headbutt by Kim Jisu. Caused a major nosebleed. Renshaw had to go off twice to get her nose wrapped up. She came back each time. She was able to go on to win this match. And here is another Ushiro Sankaku attempt by Lucy Renshaw. Once again, she gets things locked on, she grabs the leg, and then mate's called. So if you see it from an alternate angle, you can see that once again, her body and head were completely off the mat, which is the reason the referee did call mate. So Renshaw ended up winning on penalties, with Kim Jisu even attempting the reverse seoinage, which has been illegal for a couple of years. So subscribe for more non-stop newaza.